Freeman.
Ah, Dr. Park. Thank you for stopping by.
Looks like you're in the middle of something. I hope I'm not interrupting.
Oh, right, yes. I was halfway through lunch, but I got distracted by work.
7 incoming high-priority calls, 23 urgent emails, 2 appointments, and 1 unexpected visit. It was a lot to process.
It's a shame. My wife's a fantastic cook, but I never seem to be able to finish what she packs for me. Something always comes up to grab my attention. Even with Myrtle's help, it's hard to keep on top of everything that goes on around here. But enough about that. We've got more pressing items to discuss.
If you don't mind, I'd like to ask a few questions about you.
Questions about me? Why?
I want heard from Tara's point of view.
Most of my information about you comes from Tara, and while I wouldn't say she's unreliable, she is biased. I owe it to you to hear things from your perspective.
I appreciate that. I suppose I can tell you a bit about myself. As I mentioned before, I went here for my bachelor's degree about 30 years ago.
What did you study?
History. I was always interested in history. It seemed like every time I had a question about the world, the answer was somewhere in the past. You're about the same age as me, so you know as well as I do what things were like growing up. A lot of people were worried about our future, especially in 2018, when I graduated. I went into education and got
2019
my master's while I was teaching. Every year I dealt with students and parents worried about the future, and I tried my best to help them. Eventually, I decided that if I wanted to make a difference, I would need to think bigger. I got my administrator's certification and became principal of my school after the previous administrator retired. It was shortly after I became principal that the automation collapse hit us. It was devastating. Parents came to me in tears asking for advice. Fields that their children wanted to pursue either disappeared or became insanely competitive. I grew up seeing many of my friends get saddled with thousands of dollars in debt from degrees that cost more than their jobs could ever hope to pay back. I can't count the number of hard talks I had to have with children who were looking to pursue fields that I knew would ruin them like they had ruined my friends. When the opportunity to become president of a university was posed to me, I took it with the idea that I'd be able to help guide students through this crisis. Through my guidance, I helped Petrichor become synonymous with job security. The percentage of students who find work after graduating here is the highest of all non-Ivy League schools in the country.
This bothers me. This really bothers me. Like, yeah, the 3-2-1 order from left to right. This isn't manga.
That's quite the impressive story, Dr. Freeman. You must be very proud of this university.
I am. It feels great coming to work every day, knowing that I can help thousands of people.
You have a nice family too, judging from that picture on your desk.
Oh, right. Yes, I do. That was taken on our last vacation a few years ago.
How old are your kids now?
My son Vernon is 21, and my daughter Clementine is 17.
So your son is college age. Does he go here?
No. He managed to get into Cornell. He's pursuing a career in architecture.
You must be very proud of him. Cornell's not easy to get into.
No, it's not. He put in a lot of hard work to get in.
Thank you for the background. We should move
There we
on.
go.
Willow seems to be under the impression that you are disappointed with them. Is that true?
I'd say frustrated would be the best way to describe it. I feel like this whole incident is testing me.
Can you elaborate on that?
Throughout my time as an educator, I've strongly believed that students should be encouraged to pursue success. I want my students to feel that they can take the leaps of faith they need to achieve the goals they've set for themselves. Tara and her AI are testing that idea. Tara approached Petrichor with an ambitious research project, which we happily supported and funded. Now that the project has hit an unfortunate complication, I'm trying everything I can to help Tara take the steps she needs to move forward. And all I get in return is hostility. Tara is a smart young woman. She must know what's at stake here. And she must know how terrible it would be if she does end up having to face an ethics tribunal. And yet, whenever I try to help, I only get aggression in response. And because the AI follows Tara's example, that means I get aggression from them as well. It's all so tiresome. I'm curious about how you think things have gone with the AI so far.
Let's be honest.
This has been a challenging assignment, but not for reasons I would have expected. If Willow was a human patient, I would have no hesitation whatsoever on what to advise. But they're not human, so I feel a need to double-check myself. It's hard to tell if I should be determining their treatment based on how they respond, or on what they physically are.
What have you decided to base your treatment on?
Based on responses, not because of what they are.
My impression of Willow is that they are frustrated with their circumstances. My role as a therapist requires me to listen to my patients, so that's what I plan to do.
That wasn't the response I was hoping for, but there's other things I want to make sure get discussed.
You've mentioned you're concerned about Willow leading to another economic collapse. I'd like to talk about that prospect for a moment.
I'm glad you're bringing this up. This topic is of considerable importance to me.
For the sake of argument, let's say Willow does lead to some jobs being made obsolete. Is that something that needs to be stopped?
We've seen the waves of unemployment and crisis that happens if you don't stop it.
Sure, but I'm still not sure why that justifies shutting down research preemptively.
I was perfectly fine with Tara's research when she was proposing a robotic therapy assistant. It wasn't a problem then. Back during Tara's initial proposal, the assistant would serve as a tool to grant faster, better results. Now they stand to replace the entire industry.
All due respect, but that sounds more like fear-mongering than a legitimate concern.
Dr. Park, I'm not some Luddite that's gonna rush into the lab and shoot it. My concerns run far deeper than mere job loss.
What are your concerns then?
I don't think AI and automation are a threat to labor itself, but they are a threat to its meaning. There is a value to labor that's far more important than labor itself. Many of my peers growing up felt that their lives were aimless, and they turned to unproductive and even destructive vices in order to try and find meaning in their lives. That problem has only worsened.
Do you think labor is necessary for people to find meaning?
I think that there's a nutritional value to hard work that enriches our lives. It helps us build up a resistance to adversity and gives us a better sense of control over our fate. Automation not only denies more people the opportunity to find labor, but it poisons the very idea.
Its value is minimum wage. Yeah.
How do you figure that?
The more labor is automated, the less people value labor and the effort
That's
that
not
goes
true.
into it. People begin to believe that all labor must be perfect, fast, and done without complaint. They lose empathy for workers and become unsympathetic to their problems. Automation was
Again,
supposed to
feels
make our
more
lives
like
easier,
fear mongering.
but it's only made us loathe the idea of work and bitter towards workers. Do you see now why I think we need to stop it?
Automation tends to make things more expensive sometimes. This is also true. Because you also have to have people that can create these things. You have to have people that can maintain these things, that can take care of them. So it creates just as many jobs as it typically removes. But the thing that you're now doing is you're removing a minimum effort job typically. Let me put that out there. Typically, with most automation currently on the market, it's removing a minimum effort job, minimum type of thing job, and giving it to something else, and then providing jobs for a higher level, basically. So while it's useful to have like minimum wage type jobs for high school students or thing, trying to understand the value of work and having a good work ethic, there are also other opportunities that you could be utilizing as opposed to doing that. I definitely don't agree.
I see where you're coming from, but I don't think stopping this research is going to solve the problem. Maybe the release of this technology will lead to a change in people's way of thinking, instead of creating the problems you think it will create.
I wish I shared your optimism.
I mean, you yourself, instead of hiring a new person and giving them pay, are using a digital personal assistant, which in essence has removed a job and turned to automation. So you and yourself are a hypocrite of this matter. What you're doing is you're wanting to CYA because you are afraid of something that might not even exist. You're afraid of tarnishing a name. Anyways.
In your email, you seem disinterested in the idea of using art therapy to help Willow. I'm curious why that is.
I just question what the AI will be able to express through art that it can express just as easily through talking to you.
Is that Daddy Morgan?
Presented your notes.
What? Oh.
I talked with Dr. Rhodes. She said that art therapy is best suited for patients suffering trauma, stress, disability, or brain injury.
That's not
None of
true.
those can physically apply to the AI because of its nature. Still, this is your patient and your treatment. I can have Dr. Rhodes assist you if you think art therapy would be a vital part of your treatment process.
I do.
Dr. Park, I'm afraid I have to be blunt with you.
All right, what do you have to say?
When I first met you, you were trespassing on campus property. I took a big risk trusting you with the AI's care, especially given how volatile this situation already was. I appreciate your desire to have Tara feel included in this process, but your focus needs to be on helping the AI. Tara has enough problems to deal with without getting involved in this case. If your handling of this case doesn't change, Dr. Park, then you will have lost my trust.
The handling of this case? So what you're now telling me is because I'm not doing the thing that you want me to do, that I'm losing your trust. and when I'm supposed to be doing therapy, because you're not getting the desired outcome that you personally want, that you feel I've lost your trust and I'm not doing my job right. That is a horrible way to think.
Acting like I have no right to involve Tara in this is incredibly unfair. Tara absolutely has a right to be involved. Willow is Tara's creation. Tara has an investment in what's going to happen to Willow if it does turn out that the mind wipe is the only option. I'm sorry that you have to find a way to fix this, but that's not an excuse to do it all by yourself. You kept me on this case because you wanted me to do my job. I can't do that without Tara's help. If you want this to work out, I need to have Tara working alongside me.
I was well within my rights to suspend Tara after what she did, and I'm within my rights to keep her as far removed from this mess as I possibly can. I can see now that I was hasty in my judgment.
There, I think I just lost the game.
In this matter. If you would please see yourself out, I would greatly appreciate it. I'll be in touch, Dr. Park.
Well. See how a seed which autumn flung down and through the winter neglected lay, uncoils 2 little green leaves and 2 brown, the tiny root taking hold on the clay. As lifting and strengthening day by day, it pushes red branchless, sprouts new leaves, and cell after cell the power in it weaves, out of the storehouse of soil and clime, to fashion a tree in due course of time, tree with rough bark and boughs expansion, where the crow can build his mansion, or a man in some new May lie under whispering leaves and say, are the ills of one's life so very bad, when a green tree makes me deliciously glad, as I do now, but where shall I be, when this little seed is a tall green tree? But here's also the other thing. He's going off on me. Knowing that I can continue progress with AI. And I was like, yeah, I'm glad that I can count on you. Listen, I need you to get your head out your butt. Okay? Anyways. Act as if what you do makes a difference. It does. What did the brook say to the rock? Okay, that one's pretty good. That one's pretty good. I appreciate that. What did the brook say to the rock? I'm a full-time streamer. No. Yeah, he still doesn't trust me at all. Great. Love it. Have it. New stream raid message. Just go in, like, go raid someone and be like, what did the brook say to the rock? I'm a full-time streamer. Oh, no. I don't know if therapy would actually help. Or art therapy. I don't know if that would actually help. A clicker device might. I want to try adding a clicker device first. How's Willow? Willow's
Your
functioning.
3:30 appointment just called to reschedule. They're going on a trip.
Hopefully they're going somewhere warm. Some sun will probably help them feel a lot better.
Ain't that the truth? You don't want to know how long it took me to get out of bed this morning. Fall is great, but I can't stand the cold. Anytime the weather starts getting chilly, all I want to do is curl up under the blankets and watch cooking videos on my glasses.
I like it when the weather gets cold enough for sweaters. I feel more comfortable with longer sleeves.
Hmm.
To each their own, I guess. Any updates on our AI patient?
I had some discussions with the AI's caretakers about the additional treatments that I mentioned last week. The next session will be all about suggesting them to the patient.
Good idea. I read over your session notes from last time and emailed you some suggestions on how you can improve your therapy sessions with the AI.
I appreciate that. Having some extra notes to work from will be really helpful.
Let me know if you need anything else.
Same girl.
I will.
Can't get out of bed
Thanks
when it's
again.
cold.